Have you ever stopped to wonder why the numbers on your phone are laid out the way they are? It might seem like a no-brainer, but it was actually a result of a lot of careful research and planning. The folks at Bell Labs spent a great deal of time in the 1950s figuring out the best way to lay out the numbers on a phone keypad. And the result? The familiar grid that we all know and use today. When touchtone phones came into the market, they brought a new challenge and opportunity for the designers. Before the touchtone phones, the rotary phones were popular, but they could be tedious to use. You had to spin the dial for each number and wait for the wheel to spin back before dialing the next number. When Bell Labs first tackled the challenge of designing a telephone keypad, they initially considered using a circular layout similar to what was already in use. It seemed like a safe and easy choice, but the team at Bell was determined to push the boundaries and explore other options. So they started over experimenting with all sorts of creative and unconventional designs to see what worked best. This is the technical journal page where we can see various layouts they tried. The folks at Bell Labs had to get pretty creative when figuring out how to lay out these keys. They tried all sorts of different arrangements like the calculator or adding machine layout, the brick wall layout, the bowling alley layout, cross layout, rainbow layout, block layout, and even a staircase layout. Nowadays we are all used to the 3x3 grid that makes dialing so easy. But back then hardly anyone had ever used that type of layout before. Only a few handful people used the calculator layout before. So the Bell Labs team brought in people to test out all the different layouts and see which one was the most efficient. They wanted to know which layout people could dial the fastest and with the fewest mistakes. It just goes to show that sometimes finding out the best solution requires a lot of trial and error. After testing out several different layouts for the phone keypad, the team at Bell Labs were able to narrow down to just 5 file lists. They tested each of these layouts to see how quickly people could type on them and how many errors they made while typing. Interestingly, they found that one of the slowest layouts was also one of the most accurate. It was a bit of a trade-off, since some people were able to type quickly but made more mistakes, while others were slower but more accurate. But overall, they found that it wasn't much of a difference between the layouts. So in the end, they decided to go with the 3x3 grid that we all know and love today. They compared the 3x3 grid layout with the calculator layout and found that the calculator layout was slower to type. They then conducted an experiment where they gave people blank grid with this layout and asked them to fill in the numbers. Surprisingly, only 8% of the people did the calculator layout, while 55% followed the left to right phone layout. Only 7% filled the layout vertically. So they realized that the phone layout was the most intuitive and easy to use. This keypad layout that seems obvious today was a result of experiments that shows how important human factors are in design. Because at the end of the day, the design that works well for the people is the one that will be successful. At Bell Labs, they didn't just stop at designing the phone keypad. They also wanted to figure out the perfect length for the telephone cord. This is a small detail, but copper was expensive back then, and they wanted to use only what was necessary. So they brought people in to use the phone, and each day they shortened the cord a little more. Eventually, people started complaining that it was difficult to use, and that's when they found out the perfect length.